Hello and welcome to another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Jamie Johnson, the government and political correspondent for Western Wisconsin Journal. But this interview is not going to be political. It's a great, refreshing change from our election season. And we get to welcome back Mary Claire Potter. Mary, welcome back.
Thank you, Jamie.
And we're welcoming you back to the position of Chamber President, but we're not welcoming you back to the community because you never left, right?
That's true.
Okay, so let's refresh folks. First of all, you started again as Chamber President here in Hudson when?
September 20th.
Okay, and last time you were Chamber President, that term ended when?
In 2004,
Okay.
when I left the Hudson Chamber to be Executive Vice President at the Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce in Minnesota. And then I left there and I went to Ellerbe Beckett, which was an architecture engineering firm doing business development. And then that firm became AECOM, and I was there for 10 years. And then most recently was with a company, another architecture engineering firm called HGA, doing business development for them too.
Okay. Well, see, that's what happens when you're in a community long enough. It seemed like it was just yesterday that you had left, but it was actually 14 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so thanks for bringing us up to speed on that 14-year period. And so now that you've been back for a month or two, how does it compare to when you left?
You know, Jamie, it is really an exciting time for Hudson right now. There's just so much growth and development and opportunities. So, I mean, I think the community's changed a little bit. I know that I've changed and gained some additional skills the last 14 years that I will bring forward to this position. I think you have the whole St. Croix Meadows development. You have all the new restaurants, as we were talking about, that are in downtown Hudson and retail shops. And so I think it's just an expansion of where it was when I left. But it's just a great opportunity to see, you know, where we can take the chamber to the next level and continue to be a value for the members.
Sure. I know that Hudson has seen a huge increase in its tax base for property taxes since 2004, and you know, businesses comprise a big part of that. So now that you're back, the staff, does it compare to, I mean, size-wise, do you have the same type of staff, or is it?
So when I left, there was myself as a full-time and two part-time administrative people.
Okay.
And then they really grew, and they added a tourism director, a communications and programs director, and then the president, and then a programs assistant. We do have a couple of openings. Mary Weller, who is director of tourism, who did a phenomenal job really putting Hudson on the map. She retired this past summer, but she did come back the last month to help with the Christmas tour homes and do some tourism work for us, but that was temporary. And then Andrea Jorgensen, who was with the Chamber for about 9 years, did a great job with communications and program, and she had a great opportunity to go to Xcel Energy, one of our Chamber members. So have a couple positions that I'm working on filling right now.
And what's that process like, filling those? Is the application period done, or can people still apply?
So that process is done in terms of applications are closed, but it's really great because we received probably over 100 applicants for those two positions, so which I'm really excited about.
Well, I'm kind of surprised with full employment that we virtually have now that you still had that kind of interest. So that says something about the Hudson community, I guess.
It does.
So what are some of the other changes that you noticed, or challenges that you might have now that you didn't have 14 years ago?
Right. So I think one of them is, you know, with the community growing so much, is just to be sure that we continue to provide value to each of the members that we're doing, but also what are the programs that we're doing that we maybe want to change or enhance or tweak? Is there a program that maybe we will kind of reevaluate and maybe change it up a little bit, or is there a new initiative that we need to really focus on? You know, because we are the Tourism Bureau too, we really are kind of the starting point with the Tourism Center closing. You know, we're kind of a first stop for folks. And so we have in our office, with Mary's great work, information from all over the state. So when people come to Hudson, obviously we're going to promote Hudson and all the things that we have to offer here, but if they're interested in Northeast or South or whatever, we can help provide that information for them too.
Okay. And where does the Chamber, how does it get its money? How is it funded?
So our budget is based on membership investment amounts and then what we call non-dues revenue. And so that would be some of the programs and events that we do, like the Spirit of St. Croix event, just the Christmas tour homes that we just finished where 1,500 people went through 4 privately owned homes in the historic Octagon
So
House.
there was a admission for that?
There's a ticket fee for that.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. And of course, there's expense that the chamber
Yes.
has and to put that on,
Yes.
but it generally, there is a little bit of money made off of that to be able to fund other things that might
Yes.
be non-revenue producing.
Right. So our goal is that each program and event that we're going to do is going to meet budget. My goal is always to exceed budget a little bit, but then that helps fund the other initiatives that we're trying to work on. One of the things we talked about earlier was the workforce challenge, about finding and attracting and retaining a strong workforce. And so really working with the manufacturers and we have some really exciting initiatives that we want to roll out shortly about how we can help them continue to find a good, strong workforce.
Is there any state monies that comprise a part of the budget?
No, I mean, we're funded, because we are the Tourism Bureau, we receive room tax funding also. And so that has always been a part of
By
the
room tax,
chamber.
so when people stay in our hotels in Hudson, then a percentage of that then goes to the tourism.
Yes.
But it has to be used for tourism. It can't be used for these other
Exactly.
programs. Okay.
So we have a very separate, budget checkbook for that. So what comes in is room tax dollars, and it's changed since I was here before. We used to get, kind of a small percentage, and now they changed the mandate in the state law, so we get the full funding of the room tax dollars that the city collects. But we have a very strict reporting system on how those dollars can be used. So those are not used on the chamber side. Those are used strictly for advertising and promotion of Hudson to the Twin Cities and all across the states with that.
To the extent that the chamber hosts free events where there's not an admission charge or something, is that, depends, I suppose, what the focus might be, and you might be able to give some examples, but that would determine whether it's something that is for members only or whether it's community and just promoting Hudson.
Right. For example, the Spirit of St. Croix, the annual event down in Lakefront Park in September, there's no fee to attend. And we had over 9,500 people come that weekend through the 2-day event because we have clickers so we can count.
Okay.
But that came to that to visit the over 90 artist booths. We had family entertainment. We had family activities and food and beverage vendors. So that's just a great community event that we offer. So there's no fee to attend that. Christmas tour homes, there is a ticket fee for that to go through the homes. But so we try to really offer a balance of those. We do the Hilltop Pumpkin Party every fall in October. There's no fee for community or members to attend that too. So we try to have a balance.
Okay.
Some things we, are member driven, but we also do like a member fee and then a non-member fee to hopefully encourage some of those that are attending as a non-member to join the chamber and get the member fee.
Well, I've attended some of those member events like the Simply Socials,
Yes.
and it's a great way for networking to be done. And so your chamber, and I say your because now you're in charge of it, you really want to be a member servicing, and people can choose to be as involved as they want. I
Yes.
know, but the more you put in, the more you get out, right?
Exactly.
And give me some examples of what the chamber does for members.
So we, in addition, like you mentioned, the networking events that you go to, where you have a chance to meet other businesses, to promote your business and hopefully make some new connections and clients with that. We offer a number of opportunities to promote that through different sponsorship advertising, through, if you're a business that would want to put something in our relocation packets that we send out to folks who are thinking about moving to Hudson, you can do that, the website and so forth. We offer, networking, because in our survey we're asking, really what is it that you're looking for?
That's
the
right.
chamber
We
to do?
forgot to mention the survey. No, that was, I heard the announcement that you were being, appointed or made the president again, and it was within weeks. Then I got the survey email, and I filled it out.
Thank you.
So what's your goal in doing that member survey?
Well, my understanding was we hadn't surveyed the members in a number of years, and I thought as we do our board planning retreat in December, we really need to know what are the members looking for. so that the programs and events and the initiatives and the strategies that we say are going to be our priorities for 2019 is based on what the members are saying, I need you to focus on for me.
Right.
And one of the questions in the survey, and we haven't tallied them yet, I haven't seen them all, but what is the number one priority you think the Chamber should focus on in 2019? What are the 1 to 2 top community issues, that you think this community needs to focus on? Because part of our role is to bring people to the table to address some of those issues. Bring our partners and others together to say, this is an issue within the community, and what can we collectively working together do to help resolve that?
Now, I mentioned earlier you didn't really leave the community, you just left the position at the Chamber, but what are some of the other ways that you've served Hudson? I know that you've been a host here on Western Wisconsin Journal.
Yes.
And so what are some of the other ways?
So some of them, I've had a great opportunity to do this, but I've lived in Hudson for 22 years, so the last 10 years I've had an opportunity to serve on the Hudson Plan Commission, which has really kept me engaged in terms of what is the development, what's coming to town, which has been great. For the past 5 years, I've served on the Hudson Community Foundation in our donor development committee.
Okay.
So it's just been 2 great ways for me to continue to stay involved. And plus, I shop and I go to all the restaurants. So
there you go. Absolutely. So, and live here.
And live here for 22 years, yes.
So, but you did work in Minneapolis, and we didn't talk about this ahead of time, so not all of this is staged. But just, is there anything from that experience, being in a more metropolitan chamber, anything you can take from that might be able to be used here in Hudson, albeit on a smaller scale?
Right. I think it was interesting because I started a program in Hudson called Good Morning Hudson, where we bring in a featured speaker, have what's hot in the community, introduce new members and so forth, right? Yes. Great networking opportunity. I took that to Minneapolis. Okay. And so we started a Good Morning Minneapolis program. Because they didn't really have a strong kind of networking, ongoing chamber event. So actually we're revamping the Good Morning Hudson and bringing that back more on a monthly basis here. So February 12th, we're going to feature Ted Johnson. He's a chief strategist with the Minnesota Timberwolves and Lynx.
Oh, okay.
And then in March, we're going to feature Chris Wright. He's the president of Minnesota United, the new soccer team, and the whole new stadium that they're building for that.
Okay.
So excited about some of those programs. I think when I was at Minneapolis, I got much more involved in some of the public policy issues. So that knowledge and that experience, I think, is going to be very helpful here as, like you said, on a smaller scale. But it's still just important for us, as you know, in your work in politics, to be sure that we're the voice of business, at the local level, at the regional level, county, and the state level, too.
There's no doubt that the Chamber is intended to be an advocate.
Yes.
And I know that on the statewide Chamber of Commerce and national,
yes.
They get very politically oriented. I know that when it came to the referendum for the secondary schools and the investments that were made there, the Chamber did come out and take a position, which is a bit of a break from maybe prior times. I don't know, what did you hear about that, and do you think in the end it ended up being a good thing that did promote businesses for Hudson?
I mean, I think as we talked, education is critical to the success of how Hudson businesses are going to continue to grow and expand.
Right.
So we need to be sure that we have a strong education program. People move here. What are the questions that they ask? When they walk into the chamber office and they say, tell us about Hudson, they want to know about the schools.
Right.
They want to know about the safety of the neighborhoods. They want to know, what do you have to offer for arts and culture? What do you have for parks and recreation? And how can we get involved in the community?
Right.
So the educational program is critical to the success of how Hudson's going to continue to grow and expand.
Okay. And just to piggyback on that, the importance of the education, you were talking off camera before we started a little bit about looking for partnerships with the school district. Talk a little bit about that.
So what I'm trying to do is get out, so I've been meeting with some of the manufacturers and listening to what their issues and their concerns are, and the retention and the attracting of workers is critical. So, we're sitting down and going, okay, we want to be sure we have strong partnerships with the Hudson High School, but also it really needs to start in middle school. For some of these students, there is great opportunities in science and technology for students. If they have a certain set of skill set, they can go right from high school into a really good job here, right in Hudson.
And a lot of that starts with part-time employment. I mean,
Yes.
you think about it on an agricultural level. You know, I grew up on a farm. It starts long before high school.
Right,
So-
right. So how can we get with the students in that middle school age, talk about, one of the programs we want to talk about and implement is CEO in the classroom.
Okay.
So can we get the CEO of Kroigier, of Phillips Medisize, you know, of GEA and some of these other firms into the classrooms and talk about what is it like to go to work every day in these companies.
Okay. Cool.
And so that's just one initiative that we're talking about, but it's really getting partnerships with all education. So UW River Falls, you know, the WITC, the technical schools and all of that, and just spreading the word about what are the opportunities here in Hudson that people can live and work right here in this community.
All right. So, Mary, people have been hearing about what Hudson Chamber has to offer, but if they have specific questions or they just want to find out some things for themselves, what's one way that they could do that?
Yep. So we have a website, hudsonwi.org, or a lot of the tourism information is discoverhudsonwi.com.
Okay. So one's discoverhudsonwi.com, and the other one is
hudsonwi.org.
hudsonwi.org. So,
And Facebook too. So,
okay, and,
yes.
and Facebook. Great. Well, I think that, Hudson gets tons of visitors, you know, because of the interstate and everything, and it's great that they're stopping. They get information about all parts of Hudson. I know that having lived here now almost 29 years, that people from other parts of the state, and I have relatives all over, they know a lot more about Hudson, you know, based on what's been happening over the last decade or so.
Right.
And so we just want to keep that momentum going, right?
Absolutely.
Any upcoming events that people should know about, even maybe without going to the website? I know we're in the holiday season now.
Yes.
Maybe by the time this gets played, they won't hear about it. But you mentioned the Christmas Tour Homes, which was last week.
Weekend.
And
And this Friday is Plaid Friday. So
Okay.
it was started, instead of doing Black Friday, it's Plaid Friday. So a lot of the shops, they're wearing plaid, encourage people to wear plaid. They're having special deals during this Friday.
Okay.
And then Friday is also the night where Santa rides into town and turns on the lights to kick off the holiday season. And then on next Friday night is a candlelight stroll, so right down on 2nd Street, so you can do carriage rides from 6:30 to 8:30. And then there's luminaries that light up the
Okay.
whole area. And again, the shops and restaurants are open with offering a lot of opportunities there.
that's a Friday.
That's Friday,
Okay, the 30th.
the 30th. And then December 1st, then Saturday, is Santa and his critters is going to be down in that Rivertown area, mall area. There's a camel and some donkeys, but just some great animals, and then Santa will be down there too.
And then your annual meeting or the banquet, is that in January?
That'll be January 24th.
I know it's always when we're down at school board convention. So
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll
miss
have to
that,
change
but-
that.
Yes.
We'll
okay.
change that.
All right, but I think one year it wasn't because we made a point, because we were like the large business of,
Oh, okay.
of the year or something
Okay.
like that. I get the chamber too mixed up with economic development, but
Oh,
they're not
okay.
the same, right?
They're not the same. We're two separate entities, but we partner together.
Partner together, similar missions, but yours is a little more expansive with the tourism
Yes,
part of it,
yes.
and just being a huge part of it.
Right.
And then thinking about 3 months out, you got the March is usually a spring
It's the
showcase.
spring showcase, yes.
All right,
So
very
we have
good.
a lot going on. The other piece I would just add is just really encouraging folks. You know, we have so many great shops right here in town, and really encouraging folks to shop local.
Okay.
You know, shop
Sure.
local. Small Business Saturday is this Saturday, so there'll be a lot of activities going on for that too. But shop and dine and support the local businesses, because part of that is when you go to a local restaurant and they hire local employees, that money comes back 3 times back to the community.
Well, I think a lot of the thing that people, I certainly true of myself, don't like Black Friday is the driving. You know, driving elsewhere, or if you don't have to drive, you just stay right here in town, and
Right.
then if you want to do some internet shopping, you can always do that. That's greatly increased over the last decade, but there is something about the shops here in Hudson and being able to, like you said, purchase local and employ local folks. So.
And they just do such a great job just with that personal touch, and they gift wrap and they fix it all. Jamie, you could do all your holiday shopping. It could be all wrapped for you and ready to go.
There you go. We'll look forward to that then. Anything else you wanted to add? But Well, I just wanted to say again, welcome back to
Thank you.
your position with the Chamber, and we're looking for great things to can come down the road, all right?
I'm really excited to be back. I appreciate the opportunity. It's a great staff, a strong board of directors, and just a great membership. And so I really look forward to working with everyone as we continue to move Hudson forward.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mary.
Thank
you
you.
for all the things you do in the community beyond that, but great to have you back. And
Thanks.
thank you for watching another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal.